Hi, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Beans Recording, and welcome to another edition of Patreon Q&A. This is a thing that I am failing to do as regularly as I said I was going to, but here we are. I'm going to answer some questions that were asked by patrons about music stuff and making music and all that kind of stuff. If you want to be part of this, it's available to a couple different tiers of patrons to ask questions, so just check out my Patreon. Like and subscribe, bang that notification bell, and I got a list of questions. I'm gonna start answering them. Do you ever use sidechaining for something other than ducking the kick? So first of all, let's talk about what sidechaining is. Okay, so there's our synth brass thing. I need to add a kick. Okay, so I'm going to take this kick and I'm going to send this kick signal to a compressor over here, and it's going to duck the brass every single time the kick hits. This is called sidechain compression. So, sidechain, drum rack, kick, bring this down. This is traditionally used, well, actually, you're going to hear this a lot in like French house, and I mean, a lot of genres use this, but Daft Punk stuff uses it a ton, where it's just like everything pumps against the kick. So that's sidechain compression. Do I use it for anything other than volume ducking? Not a ton, but a ton of plugins in Live have the ability to get a sidechain. So for instance, here is the filter. All right, cool. So now, instead of sidechain compression, we're doing sidechain filtering. And that's pretty cool. If I turn this on, we can get some interesting stuff. Another question. I think I remember you saying in the Discord that you apply the OP1 Workflow to other devices. If I do remember that correctly, could you explain that a bit? So what this is talking about is I did a EP, the OP1 EP, with 4 tracks, I guess, maybe 4 or 5. And I did a video talking about how I just recorded like passes, like linear passes. And I said, you can use this approach to other types of music. And what I meant was that, let's say you pick one synth, like the Bass Station 2 or the Mini Logue, like I've done before, and you just do linear passes of each layer. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to record a bass first, I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to record an ARP next, I'm going to play it. Basically, you're just going pass by pass and making creative decisions that you immediately commit to audio, and then later you can chop them up and do what you want with them there. The OP1 workflow that I'm saying that you can apply to other things is, move fast, commit to audio, save your MIDI in case you want it, and then just sort of layer until things feel right. With the OP1, it's 4 tracks, but I can overdub until the cows come home. So go watch the OP1 walkthrough if you want, where I describe how I did this in the OP1. And then think about, like, if you have a synthesizer, like a hardware synthesizer, and you want to sort of like hyper focus and get something done really quick, you can just sort of like start with a sound that you really, really like, record a riff with it, record like a 3-minute riff with it, where you're jamming on it, and then add to it, and add to it, add to it, and all of a sudden you're riffing with yourself. And then at the end of like an hour, you have what may be really close to a finished song or a finished track. Next question, what is your creative graveyard like? What things, tracks, sounds, ideas don't make it, and why? How far along do things get before you completely abandon them, if you ever abandon anything? What tools do you use to get something over the finish line or convince yourself to pursue something to its conclusion regardless of whether or not you release it? Well, I'm not going to finish something if I'm not going to put it out there. I think that's the number one thing. I'm not like a completionist in the way that I'm like, I just have to get this done to make my brain happy. If it's not going to go on an album, or if it's not going to get released, there's no point in finishing it. To me, that's my personal thing. I actually just cleaned up my graveyard a lot recently. I made this 2020 album folder here that has some stuff that's been sitting on my hard drive for a really long time. And I went through this in progress folder that I have on my computer. So this used to be full of random stuff, and all that's left in here now is stuff that I might actually do stuff with. This is like some crazy ass thing that I made for crate digging. It's basically just a ton of like little loops. So that is a ton of stuff that I don't own the rights to that probably will never see the light of day. This LXR sampling thing is when I was going to sell my LXR Sonic Potions drum machine. I thought it'd be fun to sample it. Really fucking exciting, right? Wow. Wow, listen to that. All right. So I think I have another one of those for like my virus, but yeah, this isn't very exciting either. It's mostly just octave passes of. Oh. I actually don't know why it sounds like that. Yeah, there we go. So I multi-sampled all these patches. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Let's get on down here. What is this? Uh-huh. It's not bad. Anyways, this thing here is like a gigantic house sampled set thing that I guess I could play live, maybe, if I wanted to. I don't fucking know. What things, tracks, sounds, idea don't make it and why? Well, I mean, this stuff is an example. Like, it was fun to chop all this stuff up, but I didn't really feel like, I just kind of fell out of love with style, and I didn't really want to pursue it. And sometimes that happens, but I kept it. I didn't delete it because I put a lot of work into it, and I may do something with this someday when I'm bored. Next question. How do you work with vocal samples? I struggle to add vocal samples to my song, and I wonder what your process when making songs with vocal chops. All right, so let me see if I can answer this, because it's something that I think you just have to sort of practice with. Vocal chops are definitely a big part of a lot of different genres right now, and have been for a long time, and they're used in a lot of different ways. So first of all, I'm just trying to find a beat real quick. Let me go to my samples and go into vocals. And this Hydrogen 1000 vocal shots is something that is a good example of what we can do here. So all of these are by pitch. So let's go ahead and just drop some of these on here. So the first thing I need to do is sort of repitch them. And I don't like to have velocity sensitivity when I'm doing this stuff, because I don't need them to really have much dynamics. So I'm going to drop this velocity thing on here and, you know, adjust it to whatever velocity I want. But so now everything's hitting basically at the same amount. Okay, so then I'd play. You're my butterfly, sugar lady. My lady, come, my lady. Why am I doing this? This is really... Next question. When I've watched your videos, I often come back to the larger question of how are you structuring your tracks? Are you just starting with loose ideas of what you want to create and then slowly honing in on something that sounds interesting? Or are you composing something beforehand and producing it on the tools? Either way, can you walk through a bit of how you look at song structure? Yes. It's mostly this, are you starting with a loose idea of what you want to create and then slowly honing in on something that sounds interesting? A lot of the videos that you see me working on, I don't have a plan going in. I might have like a series of samples or a goal to use one particular synth or something like that, but it's always trying to find that one little tiny thing, that seed that I can nurture into a song, into a beautiful tree. So that could be a vocal sample, it could be an instrumental sample, it could be a particular patch on a synth. Like if I'm going to sit down and do those, like what can you do with the Bass Station 2 things, like I need to have something to start with. And generally I try to find just like one or two things to make that the seed of the track. And everything else sort of just kind of, for me, falls into place alongside that. I feel like I'm really boring with structure. So I'll have like some kind of intro section, and it's going to probably not have a beat. It's probably going to introduce one of the themes or one of the instruments that I want to use, or it's going to build the bed for that. It's going to build up a little bit. It's going to go into not really a drop, because I don't make drop music really, but like it's going to go into the beat. The beat's going to meander for probably 32 bars, where mixing some of the sounds and riffs that I might want to screw with, maybe 32 to 64 bars. Then I'm going to go into a breakdown that's going to take out the beat, and then it's going to sort of like, you know, maybe add like a vocal theme or something like that, or a new theme that I want to introduce. I'm going to build that up for 16 to 32 bars. Then I'm going to go into a B section that's going to have the beat, and that's going to also include themes from the breakdown and some themes from the beginning. Then I may have another little breakdown, or I may go into like a hard section, which is sort of like amped up. If I go into a breakdown, then I'm going to the hard section after that. That's my peak. Then I'm going to have a cooldown period that goes into the end that probably still has the beat and introduces some of the themes from the beginning to sort of recapitulate the track, sort of bring everything together. Last question. Would you tell us 3 things you'd listen for when deciding if a song is good, and 3 things or more which are a complete turnoff regarding production or style? Why you gotta do this to me? This is hard. I like things that sound fresh, like something that is using things I have heard before, but in a new way, things that are dedicated to, like someone actually is like really dedicated to what they made. And this can come through in the track. Like, and a lot of the times it's not because it's bombastic, it's because it's really like held back. Like, I really like it when I hear something that moves me, that it's restrained. I think the last thing that I really liked like that was Hayden James's track Numb, where the drop is just like petite, but it's so powerful. What I don't like is sloppy genre copying just because it's like what you think people want to hear. It doesn't add anything to the conversation. It's just there. Well, thanks. Like, congratulations. You just added another piece of noise to the pile. That's just me. You could be different. I'm not trying to shit talk anybody except for the people I am, and you know who you are. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for your questions, and thank you for being patrons, those of you who contributed to this. If you want to get in on this, check out the Patreon links in the description, I guess. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for being patrons. Thanks for being you. My name is Jeremy. This is... God damn it. I should move this pop filter somewhere else. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.